Okay, today we are working with graphing radical functions. Or not radical, rational functions. A rational function is a fraction where both the denominator and numerator are polynomials and the denominator is not 0. So our asymptotes, have I ever gone over what an asymptote is before? I don't think I have in this class. And asymptotes are where the denominator equals 0 and if there's an x term on both the top and bottom. So basically, an asymptote is a line the graph avoids. In the hallway. So on number 1, it wants me to graph 4 over x and then compare it with 1 over x. So what I want to do is I want to go to Desmos. Where did my graph go? So this is what 4 over x looks like. I'm going to go sketch this on my paper. And I'm going to label this g over x. Then it wants me to compare with f of x, so I am going to graph 1 over x. Oh, I wanted to change the color of that. And I want to change the color of that one to match my pens. Okay. So 1 over x is the red one. I'm going to sketch that on my paper. So what is different between the red and blue graphs? How is blue different from red? Well, yeah. But like, the graphs on my paper, how are they different? Okay, so one's closer, the red one is closer to the center than the blue one? So what I want you guys to do is, I'll give you 3 minutes for you to compare number 2. Okay. So for number 2, what I want to do here is, just like number 1, I want to go regular. Unless you want to sprinkle this. I don't know. That's only for special people. So number 2, I'm going to go ahead and go to Desmos and graph this. So the blue one is my g of x, and the red one is my f of x. So this is kind of like the last one. talking. Okay, so this one, just like number one, it's further out from the center of the graph. Questions on number two? Okay. So number three wants me to graph and then state the domain and range. So I'm going to type this one into Desmos. What do I do? So, if we take a look at this graph, notice I have a vertical line that the graphs seem to avoid at x equals -2. And they also seem to avoid at y equals -1. You guys see that? So it's like curving around those two lines. So I'm going to sketch those red lines on my paper, or purple lines in red on my paper. So that's the schedule. The Monday schedule is the one in blue, and then the Tuesday one is the one with the hours in red. It's the same like time length, it's just different hours. So you only come to your first 3 classes on Monday, and then your last 3 classes on Tuesday.
Wait, what? Wait, Monday, Tuesday.
I'll explain in a second. Let's finish this problem. So it needs me to say the domain and range. So it goes left and right forever, except for this one spot that it didn't have any values at. So my domain is going to be all real numbers except, which is the number I skipped. Going left to right, what's the number I skipped? For my x values, I just skipped -2. Okay. Then my range is all real numbers except 1. This is the up and down. Yep. So questions here.
But on the new.
Okay, so I want to do the same thing for number 4. I want to go ahead and graph this. This one is -2 over x minus 1 plus 3. So if I look, in between my 2 red lines is x equals 1. And then in between my two red lines horizontally is x equals 3. Oops. Y equals 3. Like that. Okay. So I'm going to graph this on my paper. What do I have? X equals 1, Y equals 3. Okay, so what is my domain here? Except, well, you know what? And then my range is all real numbers except 1. What? Wait. No, you were right. I got this wrong. This one was the 1. This one was the 3. My bad. So, one thing I want to point out is if I look back at this equation, this number at the end is the same as this 3. Also, this number under the fraction, the -1, is opposite the sign of this one. So I could have done this without graphing, by just looking at those parts of the equation. Okay, yeah, I'll still leave this up. Okay. So moving on to the one on the back, it wants me to graph this and then state the domain and range again. So this one looks a little bit different. So I just type it in. So know by looking at the denominator, I'm going to have an asymptote at x equals 3, because it's opposite the sign on the bottom. And then for my y asymptote, this one is the coefficients on my x divided by each other. So I have 2 divided by 1, which gives me 2 for my other asymptote. So this is what it looks like. So I took my coefficients to get that y equals sign, and then it's opposite the denominator for my x. So on this one, what is my domain? And my range? All real except for 2. Because range goes with y. So. Then I want to go ahead and do number 6. So I want to go to Desmos and type this in.
Holy. Isn't that like a historical like that?
No, that's her last name. Okay, so this one, my x asymptote is opposite the sign of the denominator, so x equals -2. And then my y asymptote is the x value coefficients divided by each other. So 3 divided by 1 gives me 3 for that other one. So this is what this one looks like. What? Yeah. They like discourage it, but you can as a junior and senior. I had release time my junior year. It was nice. I did it and I turned out fine. No, because like I was ahead because like I had all my math credits from like junior high, so like I was ahead on the math, and so I was able to take my release time in junior year, and then I was able to take 2 release times senior year too. So it was pretty nice. Okay, so what is my domain? Domain. Okay. And my range? Ooh. So, questions on this one?